SweetGeorgiaPam.com is our website. That's where it's kind of the hub for Sweet Georgia Pam. She's got a brilliant newsletter that you can sign up for. She's got a free guide called 6 Nights to Better Dream Recall. She's got a link to this brilliant podcast and our YouTube channel. And also, Sweet Georgia Pam is her handle on the social medias. DM her there. And that is what some people have done on TikTok. And we're going to take one of the dreams from TikTok today.
Oh, good.
And I'm just going to read verbatim what the comment was, and then you tell me what you think it means. Please help me answer this. I have a recurring dream where some sort of technology stops working when I need it most. Like I'm trying to catch a flight and the printer stops working and I can't print my boarding pass, or I'm trying to call someone I'm supposed to meet and my cell phone stops working and I can't call. And no matter how hard I try, I can't make the technology work to get what I need. Pam, take it away.
This is a common experience, technology not working. So we've talked about recurring dreams on here a little bit, but a recurring dream represents a pattern, a behavior pattern, or an issue pattern that continues to come up in your life. And the dream is like a habit that your dreaming mind is like, oh, this set of emotions is familiar to us. Remember this situation, and they'll use the situation in the dream to help us in our learning of how to deal with that issue or recognizing that issue in waking life.
It's almost like a playback. When you say that, it reminds me of like a playback, right? Like many people compare our brains to computers, right? And the fact that, what our body is kind of kicking up is, I don't know, it's taking, like you said, familiar things and then taking some visual things and trying to put them together and kicking it out, but in order to communicate with us, right?
You know what I just thought of that is as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, it's like how in a movie when there is a particular part of the score of the music that denotes a certain thing, and every time that character shows up, that music starts to play.
Right.
So it's like that. So the recurring dream is like the music, the theme that you can recognize that goes along with this particular
I love it.
life experience, right? So when you're like, God, there's that dream again, go and do the work with recurring dreams, which is thinking about when it first happened and what was happening in my life around that time, and then what's happening in my life right now that's similar to that time. But let's get to technology, because that's what this question is really about. This is a really common thing because technology rules our lives right now, and all of our everything about our relationships, the work that we do, the getting to know people is all through technology.
The comparison I made with our brain, I said computer, that's technology.
Yes, that's right.
So I even, that's what I even
everywhere.
compared our brain to, right?
Yeah, right. So why would technology not work in the dream state? Here's my thought on it. We talk a lot with dreams about not letting, your logical mind comes on board as soon as you wake up. And so you have a literal interpretation of the dreams as opposed to this more creative right brain style thinking. Technology is at its basic core level, literal.
Right.
The code in computers is zeros and ones, right? And that's all it is. It's very linear thinking. It's very structural. It's very literal. So when our dreaming mind, which doesn't, words. So our dreaming mind, I'm dropping into the creative place and words are escaping me. All I'm seeing in my head are images. And I'm like, that's pretty. That's a good way. And then I have to put words to it. So, so our dreaming mind doesn't like technology, if you will, because it has such a structure and linear way of doing things. And so when technology gets entered into the dream state, it can malfunction because it's like our waking mind trying to enter into the dream state and take over and like add structure. And dreams are so much more fluid that to bring on board something like a cell phone which is run on a very strict program with very, linear thinking rules
Mm-hmm.
and code, it doesn't always compute, so to speak.
Yeah. Well,
Ta-da.
the other thing that comes to mind is the movie Office Space, where they take the printer when they get laid off, and they take the printer out in the field and beat it to hell with their feet and their baseball bat and stuff. I don't know. I just when you
With the
say
brilliant music score going along with it,
yeah,
like it's like a
yes.
music
Oh, if you
video
haven't
of
seen
like
Office
rage
Space,
and
great movie. Trivia, Jennifer Aniston's first movie post Friends,
oh,
but yeah, yeah,
I
that was
didn't
her
know
first
that.
movie after Friends. But yeah, when you talk about how dreams don't like technology, that's what I imagine dreams doing. But in her dream, it was just the technology doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a breakdown, right? There's a breakdown of communication. The other thing is, because I actually had this in a dream too, and I imagine a lot of the listeners are going like, yep, that's happened for me. It's just so common to have technology not working in a dream. I had one the other night where I was trying to use my cell phone and I just couldn't read it for whatever reason. The screen kept dimming and going black, and then I would like punch it again or like tap on it again, it would come back on, but then I couldn't read the words, and then I had to scroll, and I just couldn't get to the information I was trying to get to. And finally, when I did, it wasn't because I read it on the phone, it was because it occurred to me in my head.
Mm.
Like somehow I had gotten the information I needed, but not because the technology started working. Instead, it was because I came to it in my head in the
Mm-hmm.
dream, and I just attributed it to the phone. But when I thought about it afterwards, I'm like, no, it never did work.
Well, it's funny you say that. I thought of a dream, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners, same thing. It triggers
Yeah.
this memory. I had a dream the other night where something bad, the phone was starting to project something I didn't like, and I couldn't get it to stop. Right. It was almost like this
Mhm.
feeling that evil was trying to invade my space. And then when I went to another device to try to turn off the phone, it wasn't working either. And then there was a dream. I've been a broadcaster my whole life, and in a studio, there's a board. Most people have seen what a board looks like with all the little sliders for the volumes and the levels and stuff. And as a radio broadcaster, a recurring dream for a lot of us is the fact that the song is ending and we can't get to the board fast enough to play the next song, because dead air on radio is the worst thing ever.
Yes.
So, but to me, all that's about control,
It's
right?
about
Yeah.
it's about control. I'm writing down the word miscommunication. It's about miscommunication, which if you think about the dream state is your unconscious mind bringing to surface things that you're not aware of, or
Mhm.
things that you haven't figured out about yourself yet, or things you're not being honest about. And so there is, in essence, an overall theme of miscommunication in dreams. It's like, hey, you haven't been looking at this. Hey, you haven't been hearing me
Right.
poke at you about this particular issue, or you're not understanding it correctly. And technology is just a really blatant example of not of miscommunications.
As she
But
miscommunicates it. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing.
words. Yeah, yeah. It's a perfect example of, the lines getting crossed, or not getting the message through, or not getting the message out.
So
So
it so in the
that's what
case
dreams are in general.
So in case of your TikTok viewer, in case of people who, like me, who have these dreams, and anybody else who has a technology dream, if they have a dream like this and it has to do with miscommunication, what is something that we need to pay attention to with that?
This is what comes to mind immediately for me in response to your question, and that is open to the creativity instead of the linear logical side of your thinking. Like, drop into what's the creative part of me saying, or what is a creative way. So if I think about the dream specifically, if the printer wasn't working to get my flight, to get the ticket to get to the flight was one of the examples that she gave, um then drop into creativity because logic isn't working.
Mm-hmm. You can have a full session with Pam if you have a specific dream that you're like, no, I like me with the demon phone. If if you want to, like, I need to dig more into that, then sweetgeorgiapam.com is the website where you can do that. I take advantage of her too much. I need to just sign up for a session and pay her for this. Sweetgeorgiapam.com is where you can do that. Also, if you're someone who's like, oh, I wish I could remember these dreams, I'm sure it would be a cool experience, then she's got a free guide called 6 Nights to Better Dream Recall. And we want to have you as a guest on the show, or at least your dreams. If you don't want to be the guest, we can talk about it like in this case. So she's on social media, DM her, Sweet Georgia Pam, including on TikTok. And if you're watching on YouTube, just leave it in the comments and we'll pay attention. We'll read them and we'll get in touch with you and have you on the show.
Yeah. Luckily, technology does work in real life. So just use all the technology to get over and speak to us and let us know what you're thinking.
I love it. See, that's a great full circle. So until next time, Pam, thank you so much.
Okay. Sweet dreams, everybody.